Hello, everybody. How are we today?
I am fine, thank you. How about you?
Very well, thank you.
I'm fine too.
Good. Okay, so today I just want to go over everything. So yeah, today I just want to go over everything that we'll be doing in the public debate on Sunday. So bring up my whiteboard here. Okay. So most of this stuff, oh, got a sneeze. So most of this stuff we've been doing already throughout our mock debates in class. So we've got things like number one, the moderator introduces the topic, the teams, and the debaters. Is Amy an angel today? She's got a halo over her head. Then we've got number two. The moderator reads out the rules of the debate and makes sure everyone understands them. Then we've got all of our debaters talking. So now it's here that we introduce the first bit, although we introduce the first new bit that we haven't really covered in mock debates so far, but we're going to be doing it on Sunday so that we can show everybody in the NCSN group how a debate should be run properly and how it will run in the championship tournament. So the first bit we have here, cross-examination or the question and answer session, yes. So usually in an in-person debate, the cross-examination or the question and answer session, we will have the judges or the audience or the opposing team can take turns to ask each other questions. And that usually goes on for about half an hour in a normal debate. So that's actually quite a lengthy part of the debate. And the purpose of it is so the judges can ask questions to clarify points about either team's argument. If there's something perhaps they want explained a bit better, they can ask questions and give the debaters a chance to answer them. Excuse me. The audience will usually do the same thing if they want more of an explanation on something, or they want, they just have a question they'd like to ask about either of the teams, then they're welcome to do that about their case. But it's the debaters themselves where this can be quite important. So, Stella was an alien. So the teams can ask each other questions in an attempt to weaken each other's cases. So if there's an important point of view in your opinion about the other team's case that they've left out or that they've included, you can ask them questions about that in an attempt to almost try and get them to weaken their own case. So for the question and answer session, it's very important that you put in as much research as possible. You learn as much as you can about the topic, because if you can answer the questions and you can answer them in a way that strengthens your own team's case, you've done your job very well at that point. But if you can't answer the question, or the answer to the question weakens your team's case, then you have done the opposing team's job for them. So you need to make sure that you're really researched in your topic for the question and answer session. So yeah, basically know as much as you can. And the important thing is, don't lie. So if they ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, don't make it up. One, because it's dishonest. Two, you'll lose points if the judges catch on, and we will. And number three, just make sure that you say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll go and research it. And then it's just something that you'll learn about at a later date. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. So yes, the cross-examination. So the cross-examination or the question and answer session, that is going to be a very important or a new part of the debate, and it's going to be an important part of the debate for us. So again, just make sure that you do a lot of research. You consider the issue from every topic. Don't just look for evidence on your point of view, because when answering these questions, you may come to rely on evidence that actually supports the other team's argument. Because if you can say, for example, if we go back to the should homework be abolished topic, if you're asked a question and the other team thinks that your answer is going to help them, if you can cite their evidence and say, well, I've read a study that suggests that homework should be abolished for this reason, but I also came across this evidence that supports our case. And I really think that when you compare the two studies, the evidence kind of points out that we should keep homework for students, but perhaps just do it in this different way. And so, yeah, so you may actually need evidence that supports the other team to make your own case stronger if you can compare it to your own point of view. Oh my goodness. I've just got to very quickly Amy. What is it that you're trying to say? Okay, so, back into our debate structure. So, of course, after the cross-examination, we will have the Okay, so we've got the two final speakers, as we know. But next, okay, so the last two parts of the debate, we have the first or the second opposition speaker and the first or the second proposition speaker offer their reply speech. Now, a reply speech is just one last little speech. Depending on who runs the debate, it will be between 2 to 4 minutes long. And the reply speech is just your chance to not summarize your argument, but to summarize the whole debate. And I've got some examples to show you of, I've got some examples to show you of reply speeches and how they should be structured and written. Now, the first interesting thing you'll see is that at each point in the debate, we've gone proposition first, opposition second, proposition first, opposition second. And then again, third speaker, proposition first, opposition second. But then we get to the reply speeches and we see it's opposition first. And the reason for this is that when we were discussing how a debate actually works, we were talking about that we were talking about how it's up to the proposition to prove that the motion is correct, and it's up to the opposition to prove the proposition wrong. So we don't quite have even duties in a debate. So we're not trying to, so the opposition aren't trying to prove the motion wrong. They're trying to prove the proposition wrong, the proposition team. So because the proposition have such a bigger job, they've got to prove this motion correct, we give them the last opportunity to speak in the debate. So that's why we have opposition offering their reply speech first and the proposition offering their reply speech second. So that gives them the chance to be the first team to speak in a debate and the last team to speak in a debate. So I'll save that whiteboard. All right, so I'll show you now some examples of reply speeches. Stella, if you sit there like that much longer, you're going to start drooling. Okay. Can you guys see my screen share?
No,
Okay.
it's going around and around.
I see it black.
I
I
can
see-
see a black screen.
I see a button and it's spinning around.
And more, me, I can see a black screen
Okay.
where Mr. Michael, Mr. Archer, that is starting to share. Yep, I gonna see like that.
Yes, I see
Uh,
your screen now. I see.
my status bar reads, your screen share is loading.
I see your screen now, and your screen said, Teacher Michael, Mr. Archer has started screen sharing.
Me too.
Oh, it's taking its time today. Oh, this is a bit annoying.
Teacher, do you know who is fun? It's like dot, scratch, 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 dot, scratch, scratch, in the middle of the class. And I know who it is, but I am asking. Let's see, that's an answer. Very good.
Scratch, scratch, scratch. It's Amy.
I know, because she can change the name into fun.
I didn't figure it out because of that. I just figured it out because Amy's the one person in class whose name I can't see. Oh, this is no good. My screen share is deciding to not load. I don't like this.
It's so long.
You guys able to access our Zala group from where we're right now? Yeah, are you guys able to access Zalo? Maybe I can send those documents to you instead of
Me too. I don't have Zalo.
I don't have Zalo.
My mom didn't let me do it. Zalo and the phone is very hard to see.
Excellent. All right, so I'm just going to have a go at. Perfect. Okay. So I've just sent these two documents to everybody. The example reply speeches. So hopefully they send. The weather's been miserable over here today.
Your bandwidth is low.
It wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so I'd like everybody to open the first reply speech, the opposition reply speech, please.
Example. What is lagging a lot? So it's lagging. I couldn't do anything but to run around. I could have.
This is making the quite difficult.
I can't open it. It's like only one page.
Wait, so have you opened it?
Nope, it's still loading along. I am downloading 2 of them both.
Her computer is lag.
Yeah, very
Has anybody else been able to open them yet?
I open it, sound like this. Listen to the sound. Wait. This sound it really works.
That just sounds like Andrew talking. Okay, so I'd like everybody to open the opposition reply speech first, please.
Opposition or proposition? I don't know. I don't remember that I in what team?
What?
open the opposition.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. Open the opposition reply speech first, please. So, a reply speech is actually nice and simple. We're basically just outlining. So yeah, we're basically just outlining how we feel that the debate went for our team. And one important thing to note is that only the first or second speaker of a team can deliver a reply speech. The third speaker cannot. And the reason for that is because, as we know throughout the debate, the proposition goes first, the opposition goes second. But for the reply speeches, it's the opposite way around.
Teacher, teacher, listen to this
Yes.
Morse code. Listen to this Morse code and then guess the word. What is that word?
I have no idea. There's only one word that I know in Morse code, and that's SOS.
It is a hello word. And let me play the sound.
What's word?
Let me play the sound of her mentality.
No, I don't need to hear the sound of herd mentality. Anyway, so as we were talking about, so throughout the debate, the proposition go first, the opposition follow. But in the reply speeches, oh goodness, I've not been sleeping very well lately. But during the reply speeches, we flip it around. So the opposition goes first and the proposition follows. So the reason that we can't have the third speaker deliver the reply speeches is because it's against the debate rules for one speaker to go twice in a row. So I know sometimes we've had to make little changes during our class debate in case somebody couldn't make it. We had another teammate fill in for them at times. But this debate on Sunday, we're running it properly. So we're going to be following all of the rules, and no speaker can go twice in a row. So that's why it's only the first or the second speaker that can deliver a reply speech. Anyway, let's have a look. And then, oh, my word. So let's have a look at this reply speech, the structure, and then we've also got an example speech.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, Amy. Or should I
Why
say?
don't you go to sleep?
I do. I'm just not sleeping very well at the moment.
But I don't have anything to say.
I do go to sleep. I just don't get very good quality sleep. So even though I may sleep for 7 or 8 hours, because the quality of the sleep is so bad, it's still like I haven't slept for very long, and I wake up tired and grumpy some days. Not really. But yeah, so let's have a look here at the, I'm not sharing my screen. They can't see this. Why am I scrolling down? So yeah, so if you have a scroll to the bottom of the document, you'll see an example of a reply speech. And now if we scroll back to the top, oh my word. So the first part of a reply speech is the introduction. And in the introduction, we just want to take a moment just to briefly restate the motion or the topic. And we want to acknowledge the arguments made by the proposition. So remember when we were going through the speech, the long form debate speeches, I think last week, one of the important things that always happened was we always acknowledged the arguments made by the other team. And so we were always just making sure that we were respectful and just said, you know, we acknowledge that the other team made some good arguments, but here's where their arguments are weaker or they're wrong. We never just go, those arguments are dumb, they're stupid, I don't know what they're talking about, that's all rubbish. We never talk like that. It's always respectful. So we always acknowledge the other team's arguments. And then finally, we just want to state the purpose of the reply speech. So there are some differences between the third speaker's speech and the reply speech. So the third speaker summarizes the arguments, and they summarize they summarize all of the arguments made by their team, and then they try and point out that the arguments they made prove their side of the debate. But during a reply speech, we're actually talking about the whole overall debate. So how did our team perform? And, you know, like the quality of the arguments, yes, but how did our team perform as well? Next, we want to move on to a summary of the main points. So we want to summarize all of, goodness. I think I may need to go back to sleep after this. Amy, try and have another nap. So yes, part 2, summary of main points. So we want to summarize our team's key arguments and how they have been supported during the debate. So this is our chance just to remind the audience of all of our good arguments and all of the strong evidence we used to back those claims up. And then we also want to highlight the strongest points made in favor of our position. So we really want to make sure that we focus on the strongest points, because we really don't have a lot of time to talk about this. Next, we move on to the refutation. So refutation is just denying something. So in this case, we want to identify the main arguments made by the opposing team, And then we want to refute these arguments using evidence or logical reasoning. So this is another reason why it's so important to do research, as much research as possible. And we want to, and we also want to do research for the opposing team's side of the argument. Because if we understand that, we understand how to argue against it. But if you don't know anything about what they're arguing about, how can you argue against it when you don't know? You can't. You'll just be left there either trying to make something up, which is bad, or you'll be left there saying nothing, which is also quite bad. So yeah, do your research on your opposing team and make sure that you are understanding where they're coming from so you can best refute their claims. And then finally, we want to emphasize any inconsistencies or weaknesses in the other team's case. So is there anything that they've said that doesn't quite add up? Is there anything that they've said that we know they've had to slightly stretch the truth to make an argument work for them? Try and find any of these inconsistencies and turn them into weaknesses. So use anything they've said that you can go, aha, that's not quite right. Anything like that, use that to try and make their case look weak. And then finally, we have our conclusion. So we have to summarize the key points of the debate. We have to emphasize why, or we have to bring attention to why our team's position is the more persuasive one. Why are we more correct? Why have we been more persuasive? Why should the audience believe us? And finally, we want to end with a compelling final statement. So just 1 or 2 sentences that really leaves the audience going, wow, I believe them. I think they've won. So this is your big chance to try and convince the opposing team. Last night I went to sleep at 1:05 a.m. We probably went to sleep round about the same time, Stella. I went to sleep about 4 o'clock in the morning. And you guys are 3 hours behind, so my 4 is your 1. Andrew's record
brother want me to stay awake, not me. I want to sleep. But my brother keep saying, let's play, so I have to play. But I keep yawning at that time.
Oh, bless. Well, Andrew's record is 3 a.m. and then he slept until 11. Rio stayed up until 6:15 in the morning. Tom's record was staying up all night until the morning, no sleep. My goodness, you're all party animals, staying up all night. Although I've always had a very bad sleep schedule. And from someone that suffers with this, try and get to bed at a good time, try and wake up at a good time. It will just be so much better for you. Okay, so let's have a look at this example speech, and then we'll move on to the one from the proposition team. So, goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we've heard strong arguments on both sides of the motion. This House believes that schools should abolish homework. I will now summarize our opposition stance and refute the key points raised by the proposition. So we've been very clear with what we're going to do. Remember our signposting. So we're letting the audience and everybody know what we're going to talk about. So obvious that they can't get confused. We've also been respectful, ladies and gentlemen. And we've heard strong arguments on both sides of the motion. So we've acknowledged the other team's arguments, and we've also restated the motion of the debate. We then go on to summarize the team's main points. So our team has argued that homework reinforces classroom learning. It fosters responsibility and can be a valuable tool for teachers to gauge understanding. So we've just re-mentioned the main arguments, and then we've gone on to say we've supported these points with research and real-world examples. So then we've also gone on to talk about how we've supported our arguments. We then go on to just re-mention that evidence a bit and say we produced this study that showed this result. We've produced this questionnaire where we asked people for their opinions. We've done this. Just talk about your evidence in this point of the speech. Just reinforce how you've made a strong case. Then we move on to the refutation. So this is where we try and once again disprove the other team's point of view. So the proposition argues that homework leads to stress and doesn't contribute to real learning. However, we believe this overlooks the value of structured practice and the ability to tailor homework to individual needs rather than eliminating it altogether. Their case falls short in considering how homework, when used effectively, benefits students. So if we have a look through this paragraph here, the first sentence, the proposition argues that homework leads to stress and doesn't contribute to real learning. So we've got, so in that first sentence, we're just immediately trying to just discredit their first argument. It leads to stress and doesn't contribute to real, oh, we've stated their argument, sorry, we've just stated it at this point. And then we've turned around and said, however, we believe this overlooks. So now we're starting to discredit the other team's argument. So we're saying that structured practice is very important. And if need be, we can give each student specific homework so that they can learn the best that they can. And that we can do this rather than eliminating it altogether. So the other team, the proposition, they're saying homework should be abolished. No more homework ever. And that's their stance that they're sticking to. Homework should be abolished. So the opposition team here, they're saying, no, there are much better options than cancelling homework. Here are the options that we can use. So that's why being the proposition is actually so much more difficult, because you're arguing for one single point. This should happen. This should be the case. Homework should go away. Whereas the opposition, they can take any number of possible arguments and use them. So they can say, well, we don't have to cancel homework. So we can say, one, for example, we can just keep homework exactly as it is. 2, we can come up with a different way to do homework. 3, we can come up with another different way to do homework. So the opposition has so much more potential to argue. And that's why it's so difficult to be the proposition. So in our final sentence, considering how homework, when used effectively, benefits students. So now they're saying they haven't considered, or they haven't shown us how when we use homework properly and not just give it out willy-nilly, it can actually have a big benefit for people. It can be a good thing. Then we go into our conclusion. In closing, the debate today has been engaging, but the evidence and reasons support maintaining homework as an essential education tool. So now we're pointing out both sides of, again, we're acknowledging both sides have made good arguments, but all the evidence and the logical reasoning, it all supports keeping homework. It supports our opposition case. Rather than abolishing it, we should focus on improving how it's assigned and used to ensure that it serves its purpose. Thank you. So again, we're saying rather than this one specific argument the proposition are making, we should find a different way to use homework to make sure that we get the maximum benefits from it. So yeah, and then at the bottom here, the reply speech for the opposition is a chance to crystallize the debate and leave a strong impression on the audience. Focus on clarity, persuasion, and avoid introducing new arguments, excuse me, that haven't been covered in the debate. So if you didn't hiccup, if your team hasn't mentioned an argument in the debate, do not bring that argument up in your reply speech. Only use stuff that you've talked about in your debate. Are there any questions about the reply speech?
No.
Good. Well, mine also has 100% batteries too.
You use computer like me. I use a computer.
That's right. Ever since I got the computer, I've been using that for the lessons.
Doesn't even have a battery.
Tom, even if you're censoring the letters so we can't see the word properly, no profanities in class, please. Okay, so let's change it up now, guys. We're going to have a look at the proposition reply speech. And it's very much the structure is very much the same. So in our introduction, we briefly restate the motion or the topic. We acknowledge the arguments that have been made by the other team, and we state the purpose of the reply speech. We then go on to summarize our main points. So we summarize the key arguments and how they've been addressed during the debate, and we highlight the most important points that our team has made to support our argument. We then again have our refutation. So identify the main arguments or the strongest arguments made by the opposition team. And we want to prove those arguments wrong with evidence or logical reasoning. And then we point out any contradictions or weaknesses in their case. So once again, anything that they've said that makes us go, wait, that doesn't make sense, or how does that work? Your first chance to kind of weaken their cases in the cross-examination. And then in this last case, you also have this reply speech. So if you have a moment there where something they've said makes you go, wait a second, then bring it up in the cross-examination. If they answer that question well enough and you're satisfied with the answer, even if you go, oh, they've answered that, dang, then drop it, don't mention it in your reply speech. But if they don't manage to answer a question well enough to prove your point, that's when you can bring it up in the reply speech. You can go, aha, I've got them with this one. They couldn't answer the question. So again, then you want to refute these arguments using evidence or logical reasoning. And then finally, point out any contradictions or weaknesses in the opposition team's case. So yeah, really, you want to use this speech as just a chance to just try and weaken their case as much as possible. And then in the conclusion, summarize the important points of the debate. Bring attention to why your team's position is the strongest. Why have you proved your case the best? And then make one final interesting statement to persuade the audience and the judges to believe you and believe your side of the argument. Plane crashes. Why are we Dr. Pepper. Did I get it? Did I get it?
Yes.
Okay, so what are we doing here? Oh, hot chocolate? Okay, I'm gonna do one. Hang on. Let me. Okay. All right, I think I've got one.
Butter stick.
Andrew, what is the first emoji?
It's lip.
Pardon? Breadsticks.
Lip.
Very good, Rio. Very good. Breadsticks. Okay, so let's just focus on this this speech. We've not got much left to do. And then, yeah, once we've finished this, we'll just go over, revise everything, and then we're done. So with our introduction, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The motion before us today, this House believes that schools should abolish homework, has brought forward some insightful arguments from both sides. I would like to summarize our stance and address some critical points. So let's have a look here. So we've restated the motion or the topic. We've acknowledged what the other team has said, and we've acknowledged what everybody has said. So both sides have made some good arguments. And then we've stated the purpose of the reply speech. So I'd like to summarize our stance and address some critical points. We then go on to summarize the main points. Our team has shown that homework can lead to unnecessary stress, limit family time, and often doesn't contribute to real learning. So we've listed the main arguments there. We have provided evidence that alternative learning methods can be more effective. And then you would go on just to summarize that evidence that you've used. So we found this study that said this, we found this report that said that. Just mention all of this evidence again, just to really show how well thought out your case is. We then move into the refutation stage. So, however, the opposition claims that homework teaches responsibility and reinforces classroom learning. While this may be true in some cases, we have demonstrated that these benefits are often outweighed by the negative impacts, especially when homework is excessive or not thoughtfully assigned. So again here, the opposition claims homework has benefits. We've said this may be true in some cases, but we've shown that there are more bad things and good things about doing homework, especially when there's too much or the homework's not thoughtfully assigned. So yeah, we've just tried to really weaken the opposition's case. And then in conclusion, the evidence and arguments presented today clearly show that the drawbacks of homework outweigh the benefits. We must prioritize the well-being and real learning experiences of our children over traditional practices that may not serve them best. So in our conclusion, we've mentioned that the evidence and arguments presented today, and we're even talking about the other teams. So we're saying that they have failed to prove their case, but we have successfully shown our case. The evidence and arguments presented today clearly show the drawbacks, that they outweigh the benefits. And then we finish off with one final strong statement. So we've got to prioritize students' well-being and their actual ability to learn over traditions. So basically they're saying, you know, like homework's just been given out for years and years, and that's why it keeps getting handed out. There are better ways to teach kids, and we think we should stick with those. So we've just got one final strong statement just to prove our case. Okay, my goodness. Spider-Man,
This is so hard.
cowboy. Oh, John,
Why are you laugh like that?
because I just saw that John sent in September 11th.
I think that John sent that picture is heaven.
This hijack plan.
So what is this animal? A steak coaster? A steak roller? Steak roller coaster? Meat
It's a
coaster?
hamster.
That's not a hamster. That's a T-bone steak.
No,
Steak.
it's not. I can only find that in the emojis. So
Steak is not ham, Stella.
I don't care. I don't actually care.
Yep, I agree with Tom. That's a beef coaster. Ham coaster. I like that. Ham roller. Ham coaster or ham ride. Angry Birds. Andrew just sent in Angry Birds. Okay. Let's have a look. Let me.
What will we do now? We need to wait.
I'm gonna try and think of a movie title to use emojis for, and then we'll summarize the lesson.
And you make a perfect one. What's your name?
Do you understand my emoji?
It's like shock or something. I don't understand.
Sir Michael is shocked. Yeah, I see so. Yeah. He's
Magnet
shocked.
Man. So Katie
What?
sent it Magnet Man, and I think Andrew said he wants me-
Iron. I don't see an iron. I just see a magnet. So
Yeah,
I
a
do
magnet-
Iron Man.
Magnet Man. And then I think Andrew wants me dead. So that's my guess there.
If you dead, who gonna teach us?
Yep.
I don't know. Andrew should have thought about that before he wanted me dead.
What is that?
What is it, John?
Give me some clue.
Dynamite explode in the Twin Tower.
Oh, John's running a conspiracy theory.
What?
And then he dead. And then everyone dead go to heaven.
Coffee
No.
cat, dessert cat, cake cat.
Yeah.
It's
it's
an
like a
atomic
no fun.
explosion in a city.
Where's
Jay, is this a millionaire or money man or something like that? Because this guy, money gives man. I don't understand.
Yeah, I said money man.
Okay, so I'm not doing a movie. I am going to do. I'm going to instead do a popular saying. Okay, I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. Devil angel. Man equals money.
What is that?
Maybe John Sands
What's the other one?
Spider-Man TV.
Oh, okay,
Right?
okay. I get it's Randy Cat and Dog.
Very good. It's raining cats and dogs.
Can you guys guess what I sent this?
Angel
Devil
Love
baby
Hospital.
bottle.
Angel Love Hospital.
No, it's Cupid.
What?
Devil baby
You know,
bottle. Oh, what Katie said. That's marriage. Cupid, church, love, marriage.
Cupid. That is Cupid.
Maybe
is that?
bot.
Ella
Because
sent in
it's
evil
has
baby
demon
bottle.
there.
No, it is just devil baby only. I want to put in the bottle because baby loves bottles. I am very sensitive.
Yep, demon baby bottle. Anyway, so let's just quickly summarize what we've learned today. So the two new parts of the debate we're going to be including, and we're going to be including them in our class debate on Thursday as well. So we're going to be having a go with the question and answer period. So make sure that you're doing your research so you can answer questions from myself and from each other. And as well, pick a member of each team to either the first or the second speaker to write a reply speech. So we're going to have a go. Sheep soccer.
No.
Alien invasion boom. Dead.
Alien invasion and war is the answer.
Okay, so yeah, so make sure that you guys are talking to each other as teammates. So talking to your teammates, work out which speaker is going to be delivering the reply speech. As long as it's not the last speaker on your team, that's fine. But we're going to be doing a reply speech and we're going to be doing a question and answer session. Does anyone have any questions about either of those new parts of the debate?
No.
No.
So I expect some excellent research to be done so that we can answer all the questions. And I expect some incredible reply speeches at the end of the debate. Coffee cup, soup cup, cup of soup.
No. It's milk
soup.
tea.
Coffee
Milk
soup.
soup.
Milk tea. That is tea. Milk tea.
What is that tea?
Yes, that is tea. But what is this? Why Johnson and money farmer or something? Johnson is something.
Can you guess it, Teacher Michael?
Hang on, let me just super quickly do this one. Okay. Money farmer.
No, not
Okay.
really.
Someone guess mine.
I don't know.
What is this? Naked.
No, it's a popular book.
It's not even a book.
No, where?
It's a pair of pants.
As soon as I say it, you guys are gonna go, oh yeah.
Captain Underwear.
Pardon?
Captain Underwear.
You're so close. Just change the last word slightly.
Captain, the captain, this is underwear. What is this now?
It's captain under something.
Underwear? This
Not underwear. Under something. You're so close.
underpants.
Yes, captain underpants.
Captain underpants.
Yeah, see? Captain underpants.
That I have a book downstairs. Captain underpants.
Easy.
I'm gonna kick your butt, never.
Hello.